Warrior one. So take a step back with your right foot about halfway down your mat. Place your right heel to the ground with your toes angled about 30 degrees or towards the top right corner of your mat, and push down through your outer right heel. Bend your left knee until your left knee comes over top of your left heel or left ankle. Now keep that. Roll your left hip back. Left side body draws back. Your right side body comes forward, so your chest now facing forward towards the front edge of your mat. Now take your hands from your hips, reach your arms up with your palms facing one another, and draw the bottom tips of your shoulder blades down your back. Warrior one. Bring your arms down by your sides. Step forward to the top of your mat. Warrior one, second side. Step your left foot back about halfway down your mat. Again, this can be a little further or a little less. Press your heel to the ground. Angle your toes about 30 degrees towards the top left corner of your mat. Bend your right knee until it comes over top of your ankle and adjust your stride if it doesn't get there. If it goes too far, take a longer stride, and if it doesn't quite get there, shorten up your stride. Draw back through your right hip, and along with that, your right side body comes back, your left side body draws forward, so now your heart is facing forward towards the front edge of your mat. Turn your palms forward towards the front of the room. Now bring your arms up so your biceps are by your ears, and draw down through the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. Warrior one. Step your left foot forward, lower your arms, mountain pose. Okay, so now we'll go through all the details of Warrior one and things to work on in your practice or to be aware of in your practice. So step your right foot back about halfway down your mat. Again, the stride length is going to vary for everyone depending on flexibility, openness of body, and so on. So when you step your foot back, push down through your heel so your toes angle about, say, top right corner of your mat-ish, but nuance that as you need to. And if there is any discomfort having your toes angled in your knee, take a shorter stride and turn your toes forward, and that'll bring your knee into a neutral, let's call it neutral place. Now the distance between your feet, as everything else, can vary. So you can have your heels in a line, or if you're finding that there's a little bit of lateral instability having that alignment with your feet, feel free to take your feet laterally wider from one another. Okay, so that's the position of your feet. Now keep the pressure down through your outer right heel. So this brings a stretch through the outer part of your shin, out of your ankle here. And when she bends into her left knee, that stretch will also move into the back, into her calf and into the Achilles here. Now the other reason to keep a firm pressure here is it keeps the quadricep muscles very active, which keeps the knee stable. If she internally rotates or pushes her hip forward, and she doesn't have a firm connection here through her foot, there can be a bit of an internal rotation of the thigh bone, which is a torque in the knee, because the foot's not moving anywhere, but the thigh bone is. So that can be a little bit of a torque or twistiness in the knee. So if anybody has any just knee concerns, that's something to be very aware of here. Now, bending into her left knee, she brings her knee over top of her ankle. Now, it's not wrong, or your knee's not going to blow up if it goes past your ankle, but it's more stable here for the knee itself and for the posture itself as well. So knee over top of ankle and over top of heel. Now from here, with her hands on her hips, she'll draw her left side body back and right side body forward. Now, I've heard people say to push or to square off your hips. Again, the reason I don't say that is just because I'm aware that the torque can happen in the knee if you do that. So your spine can twist just fine. So that's why left side body comes back, right side body forward. So now her chest, her heart is facing forward. From here, she's certainly invited to keep her hands on her hips or take her hands from her hips and reach your arms up or reach her arms up towards the ceiling. Now, in order to activate a little bit more through her upper middle back, bottom tips of her shoulder blades draw down. So that does a couple of things. One, there's actually a bunch more than just a couple, but it activates the muscles of her back, so they're getting some work. It gives her a little bit more space between her neck and her shoulders. So the muscles at the base of her neck aren't drawing her shoulders up. In fact, the muscles at the base of her neck are not necessarily relaxed, but they're relaxing enough so her middle back can work a little harder. Now, when you work the muscles of the back body, chest muscles have to open. So that's the other thing that happens when you use your back muscles, is that it has to be a softening or an opening, a stretch of the muscles in the front of her chest. Now here, it is a bit of a back bend for most people. There's a tilt forward, a slight tilt forward of the pelvis, so you might feel a back bend here. Now here, to deepen the back, instead of just moving your shoulders back, if you are intending to do that, you want to lift your chest up and then try to move your shoulders back. So you try to create a length in your spine before moving deeper into the back bend. As always, your breath will encourage you or discourage you from making this kind of movement. And the last thing is keep your face relaxed. Karen's smiling a little bit, but that's okay if you're smiling. Keep her face relaxed. She's been in the pose a very long time. It's a very warming pose when you're holding it for this length of time. So I'll take her out of it. Lower her arms, lower your arms, and step forward to the front of your mat. Shall we do the other side, Karen?
Oh, sure.
There's a few things, a few more. Okay. So step your opposite foot, step your right foot back. So again, all the things remain here. Foot presses down, outer heel presses down, about a 30-degree angle. More again, top left corner of your mat, bend into your knee. So we'll get a little more into the pose a little quicker, because there's a few things in the upper back and neck that I'd like to bring your awareness to. So lift your arms, please. Okay. So I mentioned before, it is a back bend. Be very mindful of certainly bringing yourself into the back bend, but not just throwing your head back. So if you feel a lot of tension through the front of your throat, or probably a lot of compression in the upper part of your spine, your cervical spine, you want to lower your chin just a little bit to bring some length back into this space here. It's already an inner curve, and throwing your head back just compresses that inner curve even more. And I think it actually, a lot of us have a postural habit pattern that compresses this area of our spine, so don't want to exacerbate that issue in your posture practice. Now, with your arms, your palms face one another. You can have your palms face one another. They can turn back. Your shoulders are a ball and socket joint, so there's a lot of movement here. So you can play with the rotation of your arms, but generally it'll be an external rotation of your arms, so it helps to open you across your chest. So yeah, external rotation, as Karen has mentioned, or as Karen has shown here, is turning your palms forward or your thumbs out towards the outer edges of your mat, and then bring your arms up. If you internally rotate your arms, it closes the gap quite considerably here between your neck and your shoulders, and it's quite compressive for your shoulders. So palms face one another, thumbs turn towards the back wall. And you can even turn your palms even further towards the back wall to exaggerate that external rotation just a little bit more. Okay. Now lower your arms and step forward to the front of your mat. So that's Warrior One. You'll see that in a lot of classes, depending on the nature of the class, but it'll show up a significant number of times. It's a standing posture, very good for strengthening your legs, for stretching certain part of your legs as well. And it's a heat building posture, as Karen probably found out. Well, thank you, Warrior One.